Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Politically Correct Ghana lesson 213. And today's discussion, today being the 7th of February 2024, the year 2024, the title for the discussion is what? 150 years of the Anglo-Ashanti War, called Sagrenti War, and the 25th installment celebration of the Otumfuo, the Asante Hene. The Otumfuo decides to celebrate its 25th installment at the same time with the commemoration of the 150th year of the Anglo-Ashanti War, what they call the Sagrenti War. This year and just 2 days ago, sometime in 1874, the 5th of February, just a day of war between the Ashantis and then the British occurred because the British wanted unfettered access to goods through Ashanti or from Ashanti to be exported. All right, though Ashanti is not a coast, but it's a route to the hinterland. All right, and that war is called Sagrenti, not because Sagrenti is the proper name, but for the Otumfuo Osei II to decide to have a seminar or a paper delivered or papers delivered or what they call a conference at Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, KNUST. It means that it's an academic environment, so he has to be prepared for criticisms or critiquing. Critiquing means that you look at the weaknesses and then you make suggestions. So that's what I'm going to do. The name is H. Kwame Afaglo. All right. Sometime in 1874, there was this one-day war, not a battle, one-day war between the Anglo soldiers and then the Ashanti soldiers. It was a fierce one at Amankwatia, and some of the kings, one of the notable warrior was the Bantamahene. He played a very significant war tactics. He used the horseshoe to surround the British, though the Ashantis lost. That 24-hour war, they lost. And they had a lot of casualties, about 3,000 Ashanti warriors or Ashanti soldiers, about 3,000 to 4,000 died. And if they tell you, if war propaganda tells you 3,000 to 4,000, it's possible it is 12,000 to 15,000. It's about 3 or 4-fold. The British lost about 20 soldiers. That should be about 100 soldiers on the British end. They went on, and then after defeating the Ashantis at Amankwatia, they killed 6 of their kings or their chiefs. The Bantamahene, who was the warlord, that's Amankwatia, who is being praised by the British for his gallant strategy. There was Kwame Mpra, who was a Swahili Hene. Then there's the Tuaso Hene, Nana Ampofo. Then there's the Kwaso Hene, Nana Atafosu. Then there's Nana Domine, Nana Dome, and then Nana Asaribediako. They lost their life in that war. So come to think of it, 150 years thereafter, the Ashanti Traditional Council cannot, they can only, let me put it this way, the Ashanti Traditional Council can only commiserate. They need to commiserate the dead, the dead kings or the dead chiefs and their warriors. Over 4,000, possibly 12,000 of their warriors were killed. At the time, when they couldn't call the name Sir Garnet Worsley, so they call it Sagrenti. Possibly Sir Garnet Worsley, so they call it Sagrenti. When that Major General Sir Garnet Worsley marched into Kumasi, Kumasi was empty. The Asantini had vanished. He had gotten lost. He couldn't stand the battle. So then thereafter, we've been waiting to see historically to see whether the Asante Hene and the Asante Traditional Council would commiserate these gallant men, but up till then now, no. Instead of commiserating, yesterday, the Asante Hene, that's Otumfuo Osei II decided to combine celebrating his 25th installment and the commemoration of that war, the loss of over 4,000 of his soldiers, when technically it could be about 12,000. How can you be weeping? Commiserating is got to do with weeping, showing regret and remorse. Celebration means you gather to enjoy. How can you be weeping and at the same time laughing? At the same time, you cannot weep and be laughing. So there's this contradictory. It's so contradictory a celebration or a commemoration. I don't know even how to look at it. I would think that in future, the Ashanti Traditional Council will have to separate these two. And they have to make a day, that's the 5th of February, every 5th of February, a commiseration day. It's possible that they would have to build a big stone, or they have to carve the images of all those lost over 4,000 soldiers and their chiefs. They carve their images and put them at respective places. So children and children thereafter, children, great-grandchildren will get to know who their warriors are. But you do not weep and celebrate at the same time. I'm sorry about that. 2432. You got it wrong. Kindly correct it. And instead of trying to celebrate yourself whilst you are living, posterity will not grant you that option. What posterity does is that if you show respect for the dead, those who before you, who came before you, show respect to them, then posterity also show respect to you. But if you don't care about those who came before you, your forebears, posterity also not care for you. The name is H. Kwame Afago. It is not Sagrenti. It is Garnet Worsley War. Possibly, history has to change. That war should be named Balfour Amankwatia War of 1874. There is this popular saying in this proverb in Ashanti, or there's a popular saying in Ashanti, Ashanti, meaning that the Ashantis are ungrateful and they never remember. Let us not allow this Balfour Amankwatia War of 1874 be one that is just swept under the carpet without any regret, without any commiseration. It has to be commiserated. A decade commiseration. Every decade they must be commiserated because they fought for a belief. They fought to liberate, to protect their territory, but they were not successful.